All right, let's go. Prop the mic, PTM, coming to you in simulcast from New York and LA to break down today's 5-game NBA slate. As always, today's podcast is presented by Props.cash. In all honesty, we really couldn't do what we do without Props.cash. So if you think you're ready to level up your prop betting game, use code PTM at sign up to get 25% off your first month on Props.cash. How are we feeling today, Dave? Had a few brutal hooks last night, but we're ready for a new day. What do you say?
Well, first of all, I love that simulcast in the intro. That was kind of cool.
That was cool, right?
Way to spice it up every day. Yeah, last night was brutal. It was horrible because we were on like so many picks that were like pacing really well through 3 quarters, but you could see the writing on the wall. You know, these games were like 20,
just
30
hang
point
on,
leads.
hang on, guys. Come on. Yeah.
Just keep Embiid out there for like,
30 seconds more. Could we have gotten
30 seconds more? Just let him get fouled one more time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, listen, that happens. So you move on and you feel okay about having the right read and just the wrong luck. So anyway, but yeah, today is much different. It's kind of a weird day in the NBA, so I'll state that up front. I would kind of play cautiously today just because you got a lot of teams on back-to-backs, and then you got a lot of teams also on like 3 days rest. So
and teams and playing each other. You got 3 days rest and 4 days rest against a back-to-back. So that's always scary, right?
Yeah. So we did dig into the days rest a little bit more than we usually do. And you'll hear that in some of our analysis. But we got a few props. We're going to cover just because there aren't that many games today. We're going to cover a few props that we don't even love, but we'll just kind of talk you through the logic, and then we'll make sure we highlight the ones we love. And of course, if you got questions, props that you want us to cover, drop them in the chat either on X or on YouTube, and we'll try to cover those.
Let's do it.
All right, let's go. All right, let's jump into the first game. We got Cleveland and Boston. Let's just dive right into it. So, who do you like in this one? Who's your first pick here?
All right, Donovan Mitchell was popping out in the model here for both points and rebounds. We're leaning on the points in this one. If you look at what he's done against Boston, it's pretty compelling there. Look at that, getting to 40 points in 3 of his last 4 games, and still at 25 in that other game. So obviously, those 3 of those were last season. So he had but Boston is, yes, they're a very different team, but at the same time, they still have Derek White over. They still have Derek White as one of the guards, and then Drew Holiday and Marcus Smart kind of flip flop there. So I think you can read into a little bit of that. You want to look at what some shooting guards / point guards have done against.
We got
Boston.
So we'll start with the shooting guards. There's quite a few that hit like the 20-point mark. If you want to look for somebody who's like closer to 30, Desmond Bane had 30, Anthony Edwards had 38, Cam Thomas had 27. That's for the shooting guards. If you look at the point guards, Trae Young, who's probably a decent comp for Mitchell. Would you say that?
Yes, yeah, I would. Yeah.
I mean, he's the primary ball handler. Mitchell doesn't necessarily bring the ball up quite as much, but still pretty good comp. Halliburton, same thing, put up 26. Pat Bev on a line of 7.5. I think that was a game when nobody played for Philly. Had 26. Lillard 27. LaMelo Ball 36. Schroeder 23. So those are all really good comps. So if you consider Mitchell more of a point guard or a hybrid point guard shooting guard, I think this is a pretty good spot with some good comps.
Yeah. Staying away from his rebounds tonight. He let us down with his rebounds last night, right? Off to a good start, three rebounds in the first half and finished with 3. So while that is popping in the model, we're gonna stick with his points here. And we actually had somebody ask Docked No Play actually asked about Donovan Mitchell over 26.5 points on X. So there you go. Definitely a play that we're on today.
Nice. Very good. Love that other people are on that one as well. Let's stick to this game, let's go over to the Celtics side. We had looked at a few players. I think Tatum was probably the one that was popping out the most. What'd you like on Tatum, Tom?
Yeah, his rebounds and assists were both popping out in the model. Rebounds is kind of high. He's eight and a half is actually kind of low for him. You see him at 9.5 a lot of the time. I mean, some nice success against Cleveland. Historically, who's basically running out the same lineup as they had last year. So I think that could be a good spot. But we were leaning more to his assists, right?
Yep, 4.5 assists.
Yeah. His last 5 of 6 games on 3 days rest, he's cleared this, and his last 2 games against Cleveland, he had 8 assists and 6 assists. Tatum at 5 assists is just a line that I like quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, if you look, you can get it as high as plus 130. I think DraftKings is plus 110. So again, if you really like him to get assists, but you're afraid of that 5th one, because that 5th one always comes like late in the game, right? It's always a struggle to get that 5th one for Tatum. So if you do like it, you could put 4 assists, and we were looking at like 6 or 7 rebounds as well. I think 6 rebounds is like minus 150. 7 you couldn't play yet on either FanDuel or DraftKings, but later today when the alt lines come out on FanDuel, you'll be able to play that. So that should get you probably closer to like minus 120, maybe even closer to plus 100. So I think that's also a nice angle too. 4 assists, 7 rebounds.
Yeah, I love that. I love that parlay.
All right, let's go to the Denver-Chicago game. What do you like in that matchup?
Not a ton popping out in that game. The one that our model was showing us here was, I mean, just Jokic across the board. Points, rebounds, and assists were all looking like nice plays in the model. I ended up, we like the rebound and assist line at 21.5. He's cleared that in 5 of his last 7 games on 2 days rest. And I believe, pull up, they played Chicago.
Yeah. Played Chicago earlier this season. He had 25. So I think he had a ton of rebounds, right? Wasn't it? 16 rebounds. 9 assists. Is that what he had? Yeah.
Yep.
So that's pretty good. You know, if you look at his let's just zoom in on his last 5 games. He's been off, right? But mostly it's his scoring has been down, right? He put up 36 against Sacramento, but the other 4 games around that, hasn't scored more than 25 points, which is kind of low for him. If you look at his rebounds, this did kind of coincide with Jamal Murray coming back a little bit too, so. His rebounds have still been pretty high, although he had very low output last night against Atlanta. Although that was kind of a weird game. He did play big minutes, but the minutes were chopped up. It was like, they decided to rest him basically for the 4th quarter, and then Atlanta made a run, and then he had to come in like kind of as an emergency. So that's a weird flow that probably wasn't natural for him. And then the assists probably the most stable stat out of all of these. So I think the safest bet is to probably still back his RA here, given the success against Chicago, and also it's kind of like the combined stat that's probably been the most stable over this 5-game stretch.
Yeah. Good. I like to listen to in the morning on Sirius. They have the Frank Isola and Brian Scalabrine do like the morning NBA show. And the other day, Scalabrine was talking about how the one thing that NBA vets hate more than anything else is when the coach takes them out of a game because they're up big, and then the lead gets away from them, and they make them go back in the game. He said star players and veterans can't stand when that happens. So just a little.
Because it's basically the coach saying like, we don't need you to close this out. So you go on the bench, you like kind of change your mindset, you start icing your knees and everything, and then all of a sudden like you're not really warmed up and you got to go back in. That's like, actually it's a really good way to injure players.
Yeah.
But their second team should be good enough to hold off a 20-point lead against Atlanta, who doesn't have Trae Young in the game. So
Yeah. Good point.
yeah, I'm not really sure what happened there. All right, let's
Yeah.
go. Let's we won't even talk about this, but I think we did have a lean on Vucevic assists, but it wasn't strong enough. But you can dive into that one on Props.cash and see if you like it more than we did.
Yep.
Going to the next game, we had Dallas Lakers. Anthony Davis was popping big time. Dallas gives up huge rebounds to opposing centers. So if you look over his last 5 games, let's zoom out even more.
Black Bleach says, unless you're LeBron, he's his own coach. Yes, LeBron picks and decides when he comes on and off the bench.
Yeah, he really does.
Yeah,
he really does. I mean, LeBron's older than most of his most of the coaches in the league. He certainly has more experience, so they all defer to him. So AD, we were really excited about this prop when we first saw it, and then we went up and we saw that it's at 13.5. So I think that's obviously scary. Last 5 games, AD's been just dominating on the board, 16, 14, 14, 15, 15. I'm a little nervous about this game because I think the Lakers have been playing really well, have been, playing big minutes, in the in-season tournament. I'm a little worried that they may pull back
the
a
foot
little
off
bit.
the gas. Yeah.
But it is a really good matchup. So are you comfortable with 13.5 rebounds for AD?
I'll tell you what, the thing I don't like the most is he's been consistently getting there, 5 straight games. And I don't know, AD is just the opposite of consistency to me. So when I see something like that, my brain is just telling me go the other way, especially when it comes to Anthony Davis. But it's hard. I mean, it's hard to argue with the matchup there. It just seems like a high line and somebody that is not somebody that we trust a lot in these situations. So I'm a little wishy-washy on it.
A little wishy-washy. Wishy-washy is not good for gambling.
No.
I think all right, so let's just agree this is a good prop, but maybe 13.5 is a bit high. So if you want to build a parlay out of this, we're not going to dive into this one, but LeBron's assists were also popping a bit. Maybe you could put something with LeBron assists, AD rebounds, both alted down. Something like that could be nice in this game. But again, very cautious about this game. I really don't know what the Lakers are going to do. I could see LeBron going out and playing 25 minutes tonight and kind of getting back to the minutes restriction again, maybe, but who knows?
Yeah. Black Bleach asked Kyrie playing tonight. No, Kyrie has been ruled out tonight.
Yeah, Kyrie's out. They were making a big deal about that injury. I mean, I guess I've never had a 270-pound man land on my leg before, but it did seem like he was going to be able to come back pretty soon. But he'll be out probably for a couple more games is my guess, but I'm not sure. But he definitely was ruled out for tonight on Props.cash. I think it said. Yeah, I'm not even sure it's popping here, but anyway, yeah, I would assume he's out tonight.
I saw him listed as out earlier.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Luka.
Yes.
Initially, our model was popping points over, but then we dove into Luka on 0 days rest, and he really is not very good scoring on 0 days rest. You can even go back to last year.
Yeah,
he had 1 game with 44 points against Orlando, but other than that, he hasn't even scored 30. So you could potentially fade Luka. That's always a dangerous proposition, but 35.5 points is a lot of points. And Kyrie being out, definitely puts the ball in Luka's hands the whole time. So I think if we're going to go over on anything, I think we like assists. What do you like about assists here, Tom?
Yeah, so the line's 8.5. If you look at his last 2 games that he's played at home without Kyrie, he had 18 and 10 assists in those 2 games. Just overall without Kyrie, 4 of his last 5 games without Kyrie, he's crossed this line. So I think of all the, even his rebounds was popping out in the model as well. But of all the 3, I think that's looking the best.
Yeah. That might be the prop to parlay with AD. You know, maybe you do AD like 11 or 12 rebounds and Luka like
Luca
8
8
assists,
assists.
something like
Yeah.
that. That could be nice. He had 8 assists against LA back in November. I kind of like, you know, putting the same game parlay on opposite sides of the ball. So that could be nice.
Yeah, that's looking good. I mean, again, back to backs, his production does seem to dip. Going back to last season, he's only cleared in 3 of 10 games on a back to back, so that concerns you a little bit, I think. But
Oh yeah.
I
Wow.
think, yeah, I mean, I think just in general, Luca not great in back to back, so just something to keep in mind. But I think without Kyrie, I think that's more positive. Liking what I'm seeing, just recency wise, what he's done without Kyrie. So I like Luca over 8.5 assists here.
All right. Yeah, I think that's those two plays are more of leans, not really strong plays. We're not actually probably going to lock those in ourselves, but just wanted to give you kind of what was popping on the model and why we might go against that. Let's go on to the Warriors Suns game. Let's start with the Suns. So KD is out tonight. Beal, I think, is back, and Booker
Yes.
is playing. So you're going to get like yet another look at a different combination. Did we see Beal and Booker yet this year?
Beal and Booker, maybe one game.
Yeah, I think Booker Beal hasn't really played much. So,
I
but
think,
anyway,
only 2 or 3 games, right?
no Durant certainly changes, any historical analysis, but the one constant in that offense is really Nurk. So let's start with Nurk. What do you like there?
Nurk assists was looking good. Let's pull that up right here. Looking at 0. Let me get some of these filters off. Yeah, so if you go to just this season overall, his line, Dave, is down to 2.5 in most books now. I just refreshed. It's actually 2.5 in every book right now.
Yeah, but it's minus 200. So
yeah, minus 158 in FanDuel.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. It's come down. So I mean, if
that's
you look
nice.
at 2.5, I like it even more. I mean, we liked it at 3.5. If you don't mind paying the juice at 2.5, I think this is a great play. 16 of his last 22 games. That's this entire season. 73% hit rate on 2.5 assists. I think without Kevin Durant also is nice. There you go. All 4 games without KD. 3, 4, 6. That's looking real nice. I think, and I love that even more at 2.5. Another nice leg to something possibly if you wanted to look at it that way. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I don't think he played in this combination yet, so it's hard to know, especially with Beal coming back. Beal will be a big part of the offense, but I don't see them not running the ball through
Booker.
Nurk on.
Nurk.
No. Yeah. I mean, like we talked about a couple of pods ago, they'll kind of have him set the high screen. He rolls off. You get the ball to Nurk, and then he kind of dishes it out. So, I still think he's going to be a big part of the offense in terms of passing the ball. So, all right, that's good. Who else? We liked Steph in this game, right, on the other side of the ball.
Yeah, Steph points was looking real nice. If you look at him on 3 days rest, going back to last season, he's played 4 games and he's cleared. We like his line at 28.5. He's cleared in all 4 games.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, you can get it. Yeah. And then I think, and just this season, the 2 games that 29 and 31 were this season. So the trend has held. And then,
how have point guards done against Phoenix? I think that was something we were looking at earlier, right? Yeah, I mean, De'Aaron Fox just put up 34. Jalen Brunson put up 35. SGA put up 35. So if you think about like 3 comps in terms of like scoring point guards, those are pretty good comps. Obviously, Steph is probably better shooter than all 3 of them from outside. So,
and Steph had 27 against them, and it was actually the first game of the season. Yeah. So,
Right. And I think you were also pointing out his 3-pointers are pretty good in this game as well.
Yeah.
7, 6, 4, and 5 on 3 days rest. So look for him to be firing away tonight. I think he's really good for 29 points.
We got a question on YouTube here from G Cruz. Any thoughts on Klay Thompson? 23.5 PRA. Usually not something that PRA is usually not something
PRA. Ooh,
looking at on Klay, but let's take a look here.
Yeah, so this is just days rest.
Yeah, I see the recency there is probably why you're on it. Seven, what is that? 7 of his last 8 games he's gone over.
Yeah, that's pretty nice recently. Let's see.
5 straight against Phoenix. I see why. Okay.
Yeah.
To me, I don't trust Klay much this season. Although he did, or two of those games were against Phoenix this year. I don't know. What do you think?
I want to say yes, but like you said, I don't find Klay to be a very consistent player.
Yeah.
But he does, if I recall last season, let's just see if we can pull up his points for last season. He kind of started out slow and then kind of started to hit his consistency as you got deeper into the season, but it kind of looked like he didn't really get there until like January timeline. So yeah, I think it's a decent play, but he wasn't popping for us in the model. I don't know if let's see what shooting guards have done against Phoenix. Yeah, Talon Horton Tucker at 25, Jordan Clarkson at 37. That's just points, but that's where the bulk of this is coming from. So it doesn't seem like a bad matchup. So yeah, I think it's an okay play. I prefer Steph over Klay tonight, but that's probably a good secondary play.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Great questions. Keep them coming. Let's move on. So the last game we're going to cover is the Clippers and the Kings. We actually had, 5 plays on this one. So this game had a lot popping. I'm sorry if you're on the East Coast, it's going to force you up past midnight watching your play cash. But let's go with the King side. Let's start with the role player, right? We had 4 stars and 1 role player. So let's start with Harrison Barnes. What do you like on Harrison Barnes?
Harrison Barnes rebounds. We're popping out in the model. And then when you dig into props.cash here, it put us even on this play more strongly. If you look at this, so they're on a back-to-back tonight. His line's 3.5 rebounds, and he's cleared this in 14 of his last 16 games on a back-to-back. Pretty remarkable.
And if you look at his last 10 of those, 9 of his last 10. So
yeah.
And this season, if you just zoom into this season, I think it's 2 of 2. So 4 versus New Orleans, 5 versus the Clippers too, right? So not only
and then
yeah.
And then if you just look at against the Clippers, he's cleared this in 5 straight games against the Clippers, twice on back-to-backs, which they're on tonight, like we mentioned. So this seems like a very strong play. Harrison Barnes plays pretty big minutes, right? He's in the low to mid 30s consistently. So I think this is a great spot for him here.
Yeah, if you look at his last 5 games, there were a bunch of players that didn't play a lot last night against Brooklyn, but before that, 34, 33, 34, 32. So super consistent, nice high minutes. I think he gets 30 plus minutes tonight. I think he continues the streak against the Clippers. And I will tell you all that Tom is not a big Harrison Barnes fan. So if you get Tom back in the Harrison Barnes play, then it's definitely a good spot. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. Rebounds are okay. He's just such a super low usage guy. If points are just out the window with Barnes. So, but rebound, I could get behind some rebounds.
What was it? 3.5. We need 1 rebound a quarter. That's nothing, right? We can get that. All right, let's go to De'Aaron Fox. Let's stay with the Kings. He's just been on a heater of late. what is that? 8 straight games of 26 plus points.
Yeah.
Again, remember Fox does most of his scoring in the fourth quarter. 38% of his scoring comes in the fourth quarter. So if you
Mm.
do play his points today, and you're screaming at us because he's not there at the end of the third quarter, just be patient.
Just hang
Don't,
tight.
yeah, don't fire away that message on X just yet. All right, so 29.5 points was the lowest line we found at -118. Why do you like this, Tom?
So the points, nice success against the Clippers. I believe 4 of his last 5 against the Clippers.
Yes, yeah, and not just like low
Yeah.
totals. He had 2 of them. He had 40 plus points, so those are pretty good games. And one of which was this season, so when they played earlier this year, which was
And
only
which
2
was
weeks
also
ago.
on, yeah, which was also on a back-to-back, yeah, and had 40 points in that game. So,
Right.
yeah, he seems to get up for, we were on him earlier in the season against the Lakers. Like he had big scoring games against the Lakers. I think, I don't know, he gets up for these games against the other California teams, maybe.
Yeah. Um, anything else? Days rest. Do we have anything popping for that?
I mean, just that the Clippers game, that was the one this season. It's not great on 0 days rest. What
Yeah,
was this,
nothing.
5 of 15? Nothing crazy. So
All
I
right.
think you're playing this matchup here. I just love the last 2 times he played the Clippers on back to backs, 40 and 42 points. Come on.
Yeah. And what we noticed is like 28 is a pretty nice number, right? This season, Fox has got to, yeah, we were playing that 29.5. Fox has gotten to 28 points. So if you just bring this down a little bit more, right? Now he goes up to a 75% hit rate this season, which is very nice. But we need to pair that with something. I think that was like -180 or something like that by itself. So we
Mhm.
looked to his partner in crime, Sabonis, who was popping for both rebounds and assists today. And what we said is if you put Sabonis at 5 assists, um, which he has done, I think it was 90% of games this season. Is that right? Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, 19 out of 21 games this season, Sabonis has had 5 assists. So if you do Sabonis 5 assists, Fox 28 points, I think you can get that for close to -115 on DK. So I think that's also another nice way to play Fox if you're not into not thinking he's going to get to 30 points.
Yeah. I also just have one here. Fox 25 points and oh no, sorry. I had the wrong. I was looking for a parlay on FanDuel. Give me one sec here. Sabonis, there he is. Yeah, -124 for Fox, 25 points. Sabonis, 6 assists.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, if you can
Um,
get Fox down to 26 points, I mean, now your hit rate just went up to 88% this season. So
yeah, yeah,
that's a really nice number for him. But again,
yeah,
if you want to keep it simple, I think his straight play on points is pretty good, especially given the history versus the Clippers. And I think Sabonis assist is probably a really good play, especially if you do it at 5 or 6. So those are good spots to put together. Um,
yes.
let's go to the big two. Are they the big two?
Big
On that.
three. And we actually have a question on number 3, James Harden here.
All right, let's start with Harden. What's the question?
So the question from Black Bleach: any James Harden plays? He said in parentheses, I know, but historically he cooks the Kings. I think except for his one of his last games in Brooklyn, where he just kind of it was actually horrible to watch. I don't know if you remember that game right before he got traded from Brooklyn. They played the Kings. I think we actually had picked him in that game, and he just like he was just so disinterested, like wasn't looking to do anything in that game, just like kind of making a statement like I want out of here or whatever. So I guess that would be the only game he didn't cook the Kings. But
Yeah, I
let's
mean,
see. Let's take a look.
his last two against Sacramento, he had 21 last December, and then he had 26 earlier this year. So that must have been that was only 2 weeks ago. So same game, yeah. Um, seems like a pretty good matchup for him. Let's just see how shooting guards have done scoring wise. Booker put up 28. You got the 26 from Harden. Clay put up 20. So, and then Anthony Edwards put up 35. So those are decent comps. I think Harden's scoring could be all right. His RA was popping for us in the model. But again, that was a little bit of a concern considering he only had 9 RA against Sacramento back in November 29th. Did have 22 last year, so that's the cooking. But his RA, if you look just recently, his RA has been pretty solid. 14, 12, 15, 14. So pretty good trend there. Where are they? Are they home or away?
They're
They
home.
are home. Let's see how he does. Let's see how he does at home. There we go. Yeah, it's kind of pretty similar home and away splits. I don't know. What do you think? I do think he'll hit something tonight. Is PRA the best bet for him at 30.5, or maybe you can get a 30.5? What do you think?
I don't know. I mean the points look good. I don't know. To me, I feel like my gut would be a lean on just his assists in this game at 7.5. I think that that would be Sacramento at home last season. Well, that was with Philly. He had 15 rebounds. I had 15 assists against Sacramento.
Yeah,
on Philly last season. Assist would be my play. I think if I had to pick one.
So the short answer is no. We weren't on Harden. We're trying to convince ourselves to play something maybe alt down his assist, and you play that with one of the other picks that we're about to say. Part of the reason was we both liked Leonard and George in this game. So why don't you start with Kawhi? What do you like for Kawhi?
All right, so this one was a little bit weird because you had I think it was with Kawhi, his assists were popping in our model the most, but like his points historically, I believe against Sacramento has been really good. And then you had like the vice versa with PG. It was like his points were really popping out. But his assists historically against Sacramento, not that his assists were a bad matchup, it was looking good. So let's go to Kawhi here. Yeah, you see what he's done against Sacramento, including whatever that was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 34 points.
Yeah. But he's also been good with the assists lately. So his line's 3.5 assists. He's cleared that, and I think you had that one up there earlier. He's cleared that in 4 straight games with I believe, 5, 5, 5, 7. So that was I like that recency there. But I don't know. I think our lean was on the Kawhi assists.
Yeah, I kind of liked. Again, I like to alternate down to 2.5, which is you're going to pay a lot of juice for that. But again, we're presenting Harrison Barnes, Kawhi, Paul George, De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, right? That's 5 different players that like you could potentially partner this with. So I think 3.5 assists is pretty good at -127. But if you want to, really improve the hit rates, that goes from 45% hit rate. If you get it to 3, you're up to an 82% hit rate. So put those together, maybe, or put this, 3 assists for him, 3 assists for Nurk in the other game. That could be a nice little 3-and-3 parlay.
Yeah.
But I think Kawhi's in a good spot here, but he also could just go off on points too, right?
On points, yeah.
So,
and if he goes off on points, it's probably Paul George getting some of those assists. You want to look at PG's assists here?
Yeah.
So we actually have it at 3.5. I think it's at 3.5 in most books.
Yeah. Again, it's
Oh wow, wow.
Yeah, that went up a lot. So you could see there's a lot of action on the over for 3.5.
Yeah.
But anyway, I still think that's, again, you could do Paul George 4 assists and Kawhi 3 assists. You'll probably get that for plus money. So
pull up his splits against Sacramento with the assists.
Whoa.
Look at that. So even 4.5 looks good there. So that's what I was saying. It was like Kawhi has crushed them scoring and PG with the assists. But it was kind of opposite what the model was telling us. So
yeah. but it's nearly plus money for 5 assists, so that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
And then
Let's look at his scoring.
yeah, so
Oh, you want
yeah. Okay, go ahead.
so 23 and a half points. I believe he's got some nice stats and back-to-backs. If you want to pull that up on back-to-back. If you even go to last season. Yeah. 23 and a, yeah, 22 and a half would be really really nice. But yeah, that's also looking good. Those were kind of our initial plays, was the Kawhi assist and the PG points in this one. If I would love to bring Paul George points down a bit. You put him at 22 and Kawhi at 3 assists, and you got something nice cooked up there.
Yeah. So I think it's a nice little menu for this game. I think there's 5 players, like I said, that are popping. So whichever one you like, play them straight up or play them as part of a parlay. You could probably put something together really nice. So we'll work on that after this and try to put together a nice little 2 or 3 leg parlay that gets us a plus money play.
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome. Any other questions from the chat? Yeah.
Yeah, we had one other asking about Jokic under 29 and a half
Points.
So we kind of touched on this.
Yeah.
Yeah. We kind of touched on this, how something seems to be off with him recently, kind of coinciding with the return of Jamal Murray to the lineup. Chicago, though, they did give Milwaukee a game last night. They I don't know. I could see this one being a blowout.
I mean, this is Jokic this year with Jamal Murray in the lineup.
Yeah, look at that.
So he's only scored 30 points twice, right? One of the games was against Chicago, where he had 28 points. So yeah, I would, if I'm going to go any direction on Jokic, I would probably go under 29 and a half. If you think back to even last year, I don't remember what he averaged in terms of scoring last year, but he often would put up games where he was like in the mid 20s, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you just I mean, look at his hit rate over the last year and a half. He's only crossed 30 points in 43% of games. So I think his point total got a little bit inflated in this period here because Murray was out and he was kind of taking on more load from shooting. I'm not sure they've adjusted it down to like the 26 and a half, 27 and a half that it should be. So I think that's a good play. I think it's under. It's always scary, going over or under on a Jokic play, but this seems to be a good spot. And then historically against Chicago, 8, 18, and 28. So I think that's a good call out. Very nice.
Nice. And then we got one more here. Holiday, 12 and a half points. I assume Drew Holiday.
Man.
I didn't see lines on him.
I was very tempted by that because this is like historically, again, same sort of view that we just looked at for Jokic, but historically this is like a home run, right? He's really his scoring has really been down in the last 10 games. So if you zoom in to the last 10, maybe even the last 5, it's just inconsistent, right? There's games where he puts up 14, and then games where he's down to 5, 7, 11. So let's see how point guards have done against Cleveland. We didn't really talk about that earlier, right? Yeah,
no.
Point guards a pretty good matchup, right? You got Cade Cunningham at 23, Killian Hayes, same game, 13 on a line of 7.5. Anthony Black put up 11.
I mean, even Kyle Lowry, 17.
Yeah, Cole Anthony and Kyle Lowry. So the question will be, is it going to be Holiday getting 12 and a half, or is it going to be Derek White getting 13 and a half? I'd probably lean Derek White over Holiday. What do you think?
Just look at Holiday on 3 days rest, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow. He put up 51 points in a game. I didn't know he's ever scored that much. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm sure Giannis was out in that game, but
And 40 against his current team and 28 against Cleveland. So
yeah, look at that.
Yeah, so maybe it's hard to look at any historicals though on him just because he's on a team that's just so deep now. He's like the fourth or fifth scoring option now. So and Porzingis is back too. So I think that's something worth looking at.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, why don't we filter that?
Yeah, because Porzingis was in and out in this period. If you look at him with Porzingis in the lineup, let's say with Tatum and with Brown and with White, right? Yeah, it's kind of mixed bag. He's got a 50% hit rate this season, 6 out of 12.
Yeah, Derek White, same. Even with Porzingis, it's 5 of 13 this season. So
yeah,
I don't know. Not a strong play one way or the other.
But I don't know. Yeah, point guards seem to be doing better than shooting guards of late. So I would guess lean maybe towards Holiday over White if you were going to play one of the two guards. But Derek White's our boy. So
yeah,
he's so consistent and he could score in so many different ways. I like White. So
yeah.
All right, you got anything else on the chat?
That's let's double check here. Nope, that's it. That's it.
Awesome. Really good participation today. I love that.
Yeah, that was fun. Wish we could have given out a little bit more, but you got to let these slates come to you and not try to force too much because that's when you'll get burned. So I think we got some nice ones out, especially for the Sacramento Clippers game. I think that will be the game of the night here. I'm thinking. So could work up a nice little parlay maybe with some of these legs that we gave out. So we'll get a couple of these up on X. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for your questions, and let's all make some money tonight.